Hey guys, welcome to the 10 out of 10 podcast. I'm just trying to find my controls. Take this off the screen. We are check on YouTube, Jancella. I think we're live. If you're watching us live, let us know in the comments. We just went live off the whim, right? And yeah. So, see. Okay. So just give me a minute. All right, hi guys. Welcome to
The 10 out of 10 podcast.
and I think we have one person watching. We went live just off
Of the back.
off the bat. We are just testing our stuff. So this is our introductory episode
Right.
of the 10 out of 10 podcast. If you want to know what this podcast is going to be about, you need to stick around to find out. Okay? Um,
But let's introduce ourselves. So I am Shamona, and this is.
I am Jancella, and we both work with the Dynamic Edge Business Solutions.
Yes.
And this podcast is part of a bigger picture.
That's right. We're here to really showcase small businesses.
But not only small businesses, we want to speak to persons who are change makers in their communities,
Yes.
persons who are doing something different
We're trying to
for
make an
impact for the society. So this is what the podcast is all about. We are so happy that we can have this platform. It's something that we're going to be growing from the bottom up because persons would not have known about the 10 out of the 10 podcast apart from TikTok. And we're hoping to go live on TikTok eventually.
Yes.
But for now, we're live on Facebook and YouTube.
Right. So for the 10 out of 10 business, I think we really need to go into what are we really showcasing. So we'd like small businesses to come in, as well as those who are making an impact. We'd like you to come in, tell us what you do, why you do it, and what is your business about, and tell us how you're making an impact in your communities. So normally small businesses aren't given the platform of a leverage to do or to shine to a bigger audience. But we're here to make you big, bright, and to showcase your talents not only to the St. Lucian people, but to also the Caribbean and the people at large.
Right. And what we have done so far is I did have a first episode where I had Corinne on. I'm just gonna show you a little bit of the person that we had on first, and then we had to take a step back to ensure that we have a proper studio area where we could record and that everything was ready for the podcast. So we do have
I do like the natural scenery. I do like the aesthetic and the natural of it all.
right. So she was on with us, and what I'm gonna be doing now, guys, those of you who are watching or will watch this, I'm gonna just be sharing this link because I didn't share it in my WhatsApp as yet. So I'm gonna share it in WhatsApp, and we're gonna see how many persons we could get on at this time of the day. Let me know your thoughts.
We also have slots for advertisement.
That's important.
Right. So those small businesses, other people who are making an impact. If you do want us to showcase your work, you can send it via our email or via our WhatsApp, and we can showcase your talents at our advertisement slot. So our email address is the 10 out of 10 podcast at gmail.com. So it's number 10, OUTOF, number 10 again, podcast at gmail.com. Or you can message us, WhatsApp message us, or call us at 4895640.
Right, that is so correct. And we want persons to show interest. We know we went live off the whim, so nobody's expected, but we want to know if this slot here, about 10 to 11, is a good slot to have the podcast. So we want to know your input as to what is the best time for us to air this podcast, as we continue to discuss things that are happening in the Caribbean,
Yes.
and also the things that are happening for persons in general in terms of these small businesses. Shamona, I have a passion for small businesses. I feel like I could open a million of them. You know, I see so many ideas, and these are some of the things we'll be discussing. Some ideas for small businesses that young persons coming out of school can start. And one of the businesses I had a very good idea for, Shimona, is I was looking around St. Lucia and I noticed that, you know, the breakfast business is a very
Yes.
good one in terms of not just offering the same thing that everybody offer, like bacon, salt, fish, and the normal. You get stuff like bagels, you know, you get donuts, those kind of things, and then the nice teas, you know, a variety of teas. You order your teas from overseas, or you even use the local stuff and you make that popular. That too is an idea of how we can even go further with the podcast as to
I wonder if the small business owner that has it but needs the advertisement or needs the push. We are here at the 10 on the 10. But that is a really good idea.
That is.
Yes.
Also, we're looking at trying to get some more persons on board in terms of not just telling them about the business, but mentors, persons who have gone through businesses that were successful. We would want them to come on the podcast and talk to us about what we need to do, what were the right moves that they make and made them 10 out of 10.
I do think it's important, especially when we have the youths coming right out of school, that they get that mentorship. And a good country is built on entrepreneurs and built on people who have the different thoughts, different ideas, because ideas turn into reality. So I do think that when they do have the mentors to show them, hey, this is how a business runs, this is what you should do or shouldn't do. I think that instead of them making that mistake and learning while they're 30, they can learn it at 21. So that way the business can grow further than having to wait and learn those experiences themselves. I do think mentorship is important.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we need to, just from the bottom up, try to see how we can help others with pushing forward the right messages.
Yeah.
So
and we're trying to make your small businesses grow into larger businesses. It's not just about staying small, but it's knowing that you started in such a way and that we're elevating. So I do think it's important.
That is indeed important. One of the things I also want to note is that the news aspect, you know, things are happening in the news. Can you tell us anything that is happening? You didn't tell them, but you're from where?
I'm a Grenadian. I'm from Grenada.
And I'm from St. Lucia. So we're hoping that this podcast will go throughout the Caribbean.
Yes.
Not just in St. Lucia, not just in Grenada, but Caribbean wide. And we will be telling them the good things that are happening in
I
the
do
Caribbean.
think it's important that we do the positive aspects and not the negatives, because when we look online and we look at the news, everything sometimes is negative, it's daunting, sometimes it drains your energy. So we're trying to give you guys one of that positive aspects, something that will lighten your day. And talking about positivity, we do have my very own Anderson Peters from Grenada. He was at the World Athletic Championship in Tokyo and he brought home silver. So we're very proud of him and we're happy that he brought in our silver. He's done it in 2019 and 2022. So I do think it's positive that our young men are going out there and making a name for themselves. And right here in St. Lucia, I was watching the news and I found out that the NIC pensioners, they got a 3.9% increase in their monthly pension payments recently. I do think that, yes, we're looking at the youths, but the elderly is also very important. important. We do need to take care of the people who once took care of us when we were children. I think it's important that they also have the finances and the means to buy their groceries, to buy their food. So I do think that increasing their pension and ensuring that they can pay their bills and live a sustainable life is very important. I think it speaks a lot of a country when they take care of the elderly.
Well, just that's
Yeah.
exactly my thoughts as well when it comes to that, because the positivity is widespread. It's not
Yeah.
just on one end. We have a push right now in solution for young people, and elevating the young people. We do have the youth economy that is doing very well, and we're hoping to get some of those young persons who would
I need
have
to sign up
been.
for that.
Let me tell you. The
I
young
need
persons
that
who
program.
have been blessed with
Yes.
the economy, we hope
I
that
want
we can
them
get them
Grenadians.
money. Yes. We also have the creative industries coming along, where they could get support for a project, something creative. I think all those things are positive things happening
Yes.
in the country. And as we grow this podcast, because we want to see that very categorically clear. We're starting this from the bottom up, right? So there's nobody we know that would be watching this podcast at this time or supporting. But as we go along, we know that what it's going to do
It's make an impact.
is make an impact and allow persons to join in. If you're watching with us, can you just tell us in the comments where you're watching from? I see we have somebody watching right now. A while ago we had 2 persons watching, but as we try to do this a little more frequently, we will get the numbers. And note that whether we have numbers or not, we will and we're going to have this podcast.
I think even
and
if
these
we reach
conversations.
1 or 2 persons, that's good because we're making an impact. Sometimes we have to start like a small business. You have to start small. Sometimes you have your family you're selling to or your neighbors, and then slowly but surely that your product is good. Then they tell their friends. Then you start selling at work, and then your business grows. Everything that becomes big, it started off in a small sense. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Started small, and then you added a little something, and then it grew. So I do think that this podcast is going to do well because we're here for the small businesses. We're here for the people who are making an impact. We're here for you. So,
and importantly, I'm hoping that the mentors will say yes to the
Yes.
cause, because the mentors are a big part of our society. They would have walked the line.
yes.
They would have known, what has happened in their time. They would be able to explain, how things was when they were doing business, and tell the young persons what can be done to help them in the business.
They can also tell them what changed because the market changes, and so they'll be like, oh well, we have IT, we have online now.
On social
This
media.
is what happened before. You can take this portion, but this is the new. So the person starts with the new, but they also have the foundations of the old. I do think that's important.
That is indeed important. And as we wait for the comments for persons to join us in here, we have persons popping up. So far I've seen about 5-6 people pop up, view, but I just want to know if this time we have another person watching now is a sweet spot for persons joining, or should it be something more evening time? For me, I believe this time is a chill time.
Yeah.
There's not much going on in terms of radio, TV right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, and it might be a good time for us to discuss, some things, that links to positivity, something great that's happening in the Caribbean, something great that's happening in St. Lucia, and help persons know that it's not just about their journey. When I say it's not, there's somebody else walking the same journey with them, and that journey can be successful, it can be impactful. You can have quite a bit of persons going through the same challenges as you, but that still doesn't mean that you're not 10 out of 10 because you go through a challenge.
Yeah.
The challenges make
you who you are. That's
right.
And you learn from the challenges. And there's this quote that says, it's not how much you fall, but it's how much time you get up. So sometimes you might start a small business and you might be selling a product, but that might work out. But then you realize, hey, people like this other product. You start selling it and it works out. So you have to gauge your audience. And I think that's what we need our mentors in as well. They can tell us how find your sweet spot, find your market, find what works well for you. And that is why we have this podcast to say, hey, you're a small business, we're here for you, and we're going to help shine that light.
Right. So it's very simple to come on the 10 out of 10 podcast. You just need to send us a message, and we'll reiterate the email address, the 10 out of 10 podcast @gmail.com. You can also send us a message, a call, give us a call at number
489-5640.
and we indeed will be back here. We will be testing the times to see the best time. We do know there's quite a bit happening in the early mornings. We want to have this podcast at a time where persons could be able to sit down, get the information. Right, right. There is a bit happening around lunchtime as well, but we want to make sure that this is aired at the right time. So those of you who join us today and you've seen this podcast right now because it's going to stay up on our platforms, thank you for joining us. Please let somebody know about the 10 out of 10 podcast. If there is a small business that you would like to see aired on the 10 out of 10 podcast, please send us a DM. Don't be afraid to drop us a DM. We will be reaching out to those businesses. Or if you're a small business owner and you want to come and speak to us about your business, what makes you 10 out of 10, indeed, send us a message. Let us know what's happening with you, and we will be airing your stories. We'll be getting snippets from you of what's happening in your business and continually, giving out those stories on the 10 out of 10 podcast. So for those of you who join us today, thank you so much for popping in, and we hope to see you the next time we come live on the 10 out of 10 podcast. Bye now.